Welcome back. Today our target is to multiply using hundredths. We will know we have been successful when we are able to complete Mission 2, Lesson 11. Let's start with our first problem. 9 23/100 times 145. Just like we did in the last lesson when we multiplied by tenths, we want to be able to estimate by using rounding. We're going to round to the nearest tens because we've learned that multiplying using tens is much easier. 9 23/100. This is close to 10. And 145 is close to 150. If I multiply these together, 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. And there are 2 zeros in my problem, so I'm putting those 2 zeros at the end to hold places. We also learned that if we're able to decide if we rounded up or down for both of those and they match, that we would be able to determine if our answer should be less than or greater than our estimate. In this problem, 9 23/100 was multiplied up, so it is less than 10. And 145 is less than 150. So we now know that our answer should be close to, but less than 1,500. And so now we need to solve our problem. On CERN, for Lesson 11, we are solving using the standard algorithm, or the traditional way. However, in real life, if you want to use the box method, which we sometimes call the area model, feel free to use it. Just like in the last lesson, we're going to ignore the decimal as we're multiplying. I highly recommend, when you're multiplying, that you use lined paper turned sideways. This will help you keep your numbers lined up so that solving is easier. The first place value I'm multiplying with is the ones place. In it, I have the digit 5. $46. Now I'm going to multiply by the tens place. Remember, this 4 is not really a 4. It represents 40. Just like up here, if I count the zeros in my problem, and with 40 there would be 1 0, I can put it down here to hold that place. Just like in the number 40, the 0 holds the ones place. And now my 1 is in the hundreds place. It's not really a 1. So I'm going to take the 2 zeros from the 100 and put them down here. And now I need to add them together. So now I sort of have my answer, but not completely, because I still need to put the decimal back into it. Looking back up at our estimate, we found that our answer should be less than, but close to, 1,500. So now looking down here, I'm able to determine that if I put my decimal right here, that gives me 1,335 and 35/100. Well, this is less than, but close to, 1,500. On CERN, we're estimating to find out where to put our decimal in our answer. But you may not always do this when you are solving a problem where you're multiplying by hundreds. So another way that you can determine where that would be is, again, just like we practiced with the last lesson multiplying by tenths, we're going to count the number of places behind the decimal in the problem. We only have one decimal in this problem, and it's right here. Behind it, there are 2 places, and so I need to have 2 places behind the decimal in my answer. And if I look here, there are 2 places behind the decimal. Let's try one together. 613 times 7 24/100. Pause and estimate using rounding, and then come back to check your answer. 613 is closest to 610 when rounding to your tens. 7 2400ths is closest to 10. Then multiplying together, 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 1 is 1, and there are 2 zeros in our problem. So we're putting 2 zeros behind the 61. In looking at this, 613 is greater than 610, and 7 2400ths is less than 10. Because they are not the same, it's really not possible for us to be able to determine if our answer is going to be greater than or less than 6,100. But we do know it should be in this ballpark. Now use the standard algorithm and solve and come back and check your answer. Pause now. When multiplying by 4, 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. 4 times 6 is 24. When multiplying by tens, we have a 2 in that place. That 2 is really a 20, so we're going to take the 0 from the 20 and put it down here. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times 6 is 12. When multiplying by our hundredths place, this 7 represents 700. So I'm going to take the 2 zeros in 700, which are holding the ones place and the tens place, and I'm going to put them down here to hold those places as well. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 more is 9. 7 times 6 is 42. And then we would add. 5 plus 6 is 11. So now we need to determine where our decimal is going to be. Remember that it should be somewhere around 6,100. In looking at this, we would think that it would be right here. But it doesn't seem like 4,438 would be close to 6,100. However, if we were to put the decimal in a different place, such as here, 443, well, that's very far away. Or if we were to put it over here, 44,381 is very far away. So when comparing it to other options, 4,438 does seem to be pretty close to 6,100 or 6,100. Also, if we look up in our problem, we see there are 2 place values after the decimal, and if we put our decimal right here, there would be 2 place values after the decimal. So this is the best choice for it. Hope this helps.